I'm going to show you 11 tiny machines you need to know for the Create mod. Each one of these time-saving machines will produce items that you will need to build your wildest creations. This first one is a mechanical press. Most of the early Create mod machines require iron sheets, so build this one first. The way this machine works is you put your iron ingots in here, then it presses them, as you can see, and then you can pick up your sheets in this chest right here. Alrighty, to build this thing, all we need is a shaft, a belt stretched between those two shafts like that. The mechanical press goes right here above that belt. Then we have a chest here, a funnel pointing out of the chest, so just right click the chest and make sure the arrow is pointing down. Place in a chest right there, an andesite funnel right there like that. On the back, you're just going to place in 1 and 2 shafts, place a belt in between those, and you can power it like pretty much wherever, just to make sure that the belt is going from this direction to that direction, and you should be good to go. Once you're able to make sheets, you can build this thing. This is a smelter. With this machine, you can smelt all of your items without any fuel, just like you would in a normal Minecraft furnace. It's great. All you have to do is put your smeltable items into this chest. They will move across underneath this lava into this other funnel and get smelted along the way, as you just saw right there. And you have your smelted items over here. Alright, to build this, go ahead and place down a shaft, and then place another shaft, stretch a belt in between those two, place a chest right here, then place a funnel coming out of that chest. You can use a barrel too if you want, it doesn't matter. Place a chest over here with a funnel on it, place in 2 blocks of any kind, those are temporary, then surround the blocks with some trapdoors. I'm using these clear glass trapdoors from Create because I like them, but any trapdoor will work. If you don't want to make these, it doesn't matter. Then go ahead and shift click and place in 2 fans pointing down, place in a shaft, another shaft, and then another shaft, if you can get it there, pointing upwards, just like that, and then one below that, and then another one over here. You might have to do some trickery and bring it up from the ground, which is just fine, because stretch a belt across these, stretch a belt across these 2, and then at the bottom here you're going to place in a vertical gearbox. Then put a large cogwheel on that one, a small cogwheel on this one, place a water wheel on that cog right there, place in some water underneath this thing. Now we want the water to go right there, and then all we have to do is break these 2 blocks, take out our lava bucket, and place it carefully in there, and you're ready to go. This next one's pretty cool because what it does is it turns andesite alloy into shafts, and you can also make some other things in this. That's all it is. This is the entire build right here. If you drop some andesite alloy into this chest, it will go across this saw blade, albeit slightly slowly at the moment. There we go. And then it turned it into a shaft. The reason this is cool is because with 1 andesite alloy, you can get 6 shafts, which is 2 more than you would get if you made them by hand. This next tiny machine is a mixer, and you can make it with or without this blaze burner. The andesite alloy recipe will give you double the andesite alloy if you use the mixer instead of just a crafting table, so it's well worth setting up even before you get access to the blaze burner. To use it, all you have to do is place 1 ingredient, these iron nuggets in this case, in this chest, and your other ingredient in this chest, and as long as this is on, I believe it's 16 RPM or more, then it will mix it together for you, spit out the item, and the item will end up in this chest. Now to make brass, of course, you put your copper and then your zinc, and then feed this guy some sort of fuel. To build this one, you can start with your blaze burner, or if you don't have it yet, just place any old block right there, place your basin on top of that, then your mechanical mixer there, a hopper pointing into the basin there, a hopper pointing in right there, place in a chest on that side and a chest on that side, a depot right here in front of the blaze burner, grab a chest, place it right there. You can place a double chest if you feel like you're going to make a bunch of stuff. Shift right click the chest with your funnel, make sure that arrow is pointing into the chest. To power it, I like to use a large cogwheel on the mixer if I can, and then just power this large cogwheel. I'm just using the creative motor for now. This has to be going at least 16 RPM, so the power source has to be at least 8, otherwise the mixer won't function, and that's it. This next wondrous tiny machine behind me makes casings. To make casings, what you want to do is put your casing material, in this case andesite alloy, into that chest, and then you're going to go ahead and place in just regular old logs in this chest. The logs are going to go through your mechanical saw, then they're going to have the alloy applied to them, and in here you end up with casings. Go ahead and place down 2 shafts like that. Then you're going to take a mechanical saw and place it right here. If you kind of look down and then place it that way, it'll go the right direction. Off of that, you're going to place in a hopper, and then you can take your chest and place it on top of that hopper. And then I have a double chest on this. You don't need a double chest to make it work. Then go ahead and place in your belt right here. We need a chest on top of that end of the belt. Then you're going to go ahead and place an andesite funnel right there. Look down above this belt right here and right click with your deployer. Then come around to the back and you're going to place a cog there, one above this, one above, there it goes, and then one right there to power the deployer, and then you just power it like right there. You do need to make sure that the belt is going the correct direction. As long as this is going to the left and you've used cog wheels, this thing should work just fine. You can also make brass casings and copper casings with this thing. It's the same setup. It's a really simple machine, but it's very effective, and you should definitely build it. You probably need it, unless you really like stripping wood by hand with an axe, like a barbarian. Don't forget to place this hopper going into this deployer and a double chest here, like I did earlier. This next machine can do a lot of recipes that just use a deployer, but I have it set up here to polish rose quartz. It's really annoying to stand there with rose quartz and a piece of sandpaper in your other hand and right click and sand them like a barbarian or a blockhead when you could use this elegant tiny machine behind me. To use it, all you need to do is put your sandpaper in this chest or whatever you want to deploy, and then you place the thing that you want to deploy onto in this chest, and it just does it. It's amazing. And then out here we get polished rose quartz. To build it, it's pretty simple. All you need is a shaft, another shaft, a belt, like this. Place your chest right here. This is your output chest, just like that. A funnel on that chest right there. Place in your deployer. Just look down right there, and there's the deployer. Next to that deployer, you're going to put another double chest. Look at the bottom of this chest and right click to place in another funnel pointing down. The arrow must be pointing down, as you see. Come around the back, place a shaft right there. Pick up some random items that are behind you. Place another shaft right there. Then grab a mechanical belt, place it there, and then just give it some power. I just powered this one right here, but the power can go anywhere that the power can go. Make sure that the belt is going the other way from this. So you want it to be going from left to right in my case. So I'm just gonna have to switch this guy around real quick. And there we go. He's going the right direction now, and everything is good. This next machine is a crushing wheel machine. It's super compact, and I really like this machine the way it's set up. For this one, all you have to do is put your crushable materials into the chest, and it just crushes them, and then you pick them up over here when it's done. To build this one, it's very simple. All you need is 3 shafts on the ground, 2 gearboxes, 1 mechanical belt, and a partridge in a... No, wait, that's a different song. Okay, there we go. Ah, I just broke my belt. All fixed. Okay, so then we're going to place a chest right there. That was just temporary. And then we can place a chest right there like that. Use the brass ones like this. And because I like to filter my crushing system, and I'll tell you why in just a minute. Okay, I'll just put this creative motor. Of course, you'll have to power it in creative mode with something. Get that thing going as fast as you can make it go, and then try to figure out which direction it's going. Okay, mine is going right to left here. Once you figure out which direction the thing is going, then what you're going to want to do is set up a filter. I highly recommend a filter so you don't accidentally grind up your favorite pickaxe. So the way you do that is you're going to open up an attribute filter, or craft yourself an attribute filter, then open it, then place in an item that can be crushed. And then you're going to click this button right here that says Add to Attribute List. So now make sure this says Can Be Crushed, and then click the check button. Then place that in the funnels filter like that. Give it a test. See if this will go through. Yes, it does. Okay, everything's looking good. And then you can place in your crushing wheels. That way, if you place in your absolutely favorite chest, your chest won't accidentally get ground up. Neither will your favorite piece of redstone. All right, this next little contraption you don't necessarily need, but it's a cobblestone generator. And yes, it can be tiled and made to be a lot larger. You might know why you need cobblestone, but you might not. So I'll explain it in a little bit. To build this little cobblestone generator, all you need is a chest, and then a hopper. And then on top of that hopper, place in a temporary block. I'm just going to use this casing because why not? And then place in a temporary block right there as well. Take this mechanical drill, shift click actually right there so that it's pointing into that casing. And then you want to surround all of this with some trapdoors. I'm using these glass trapdoors because I like to be able to see through and see what's happening. And then I'm going to go ahead and place the motor now, just because that way when I place the water in, it's not going to come out. There we go. And it's going to break my casing, but I don't care because I kind of wanted to break it anyway. Didn't like it. Okay. Then you're going to take your water bucket and actually waterlog this drill like that. And then you place your lava bucket in there. And then it should start working immediately once you power it. Of course, with this, the faster the better, because you're going to get more cobblestone. You can also tile this, so if you put a bunch of these in a row, and then instead of a hopper, you could just place a belt underneath here and have it run into a chest, or have it run right into your crushing wheels and then into your washer. If you're enjoying this video, I'd like to take a moment just to remind you to subscribe and hit the like button, and maybe leave me a comment about something else you'd like to see from the Create mod. I also have a Patreon. It's Patreon Mr. Blockhead. I have some free stuff on there. Let's get on with the video. By the way, if you take this cobblestone and you put it into your crushing wheels, it will crush it into gravel. Okay, I know that doesn't seem really exciting because who cares about gravel, but trust me, you're going to want to know and remember that you can make gravel from literally nothing. So once you get the ability to make brass, you're probably going to want to upgrade your smelter to something like this. What's really important is these funnels here. The reason you would want to upgrade to these brass funnels is because now you're going to be able to smelt 2 stacks at a time. Suppose I have a stack of raw iron and a stack of raw copper, and I throw both of those into my smelter simultaneously. Guess what happens? In a little bit, about the time that it takes to smelt something in a furnace, smelt 1 item in a furnace, we can actually smelt 2 stacks of items. Any second now. Here we go. Come on. You can do it. Here we go. Wait for it. There it goes. You might not have even seen it happen, but it's all smelted down. Of course, you can extend this and make it a little bit longer if you want to do 3 stacks at once, or 4 stacks at once, or maybe even 5 or 6 or 7 stacks at once. You can also tile this thing, so you can smelt like 50 stacks at once. But if you're smelting that much, then my goodness, why don't you just sell it all and buy Minecraft or something? This is the magic sauce right here, is this filter. Without the filter, if I throw the items into the chest, they just go right on through and they don't get smelted because they weren't sitting there long enough to smelt a whole stack. So you need to grab out an attribute filter. You're going to right click it and then place in something that you can smelt. All right, now see how it says can be crushed? We don't care about that. We want to see, can it be smelted? Yes, it can be smelted. Instead of clicking this add to attribute list, you're going to add the opposite attribute to the list. Now make sure this says cannot be smelted. That's what you want. That's the magic sauce. Accept, and then place the filter into the funnel, like the output funnel, this one, like that. And what that's going to do is that's going to make it so that if I were to take my raw copper can be smelted. And this filter says only let things through that cannot be smelted. So if this cannot be smelted, then it would go right through, but it can be smelted. So it's going to sit there until it turns into copper ingots, which cannot be smelted, and then it lets it through. And that's how it works in its secret sauce, so don't tell anyone. This next tiny machine is exactly the same as that tiny machine with a couple of minor changes. Instead of lava, it contains water. So this makes this thing a washer instead of a smelter. You might not know that in Create, you can wash things, and certain things that you wash will give you extra benefits, like gravel, for example. I happen to have a stack of gravel. It goes into the washer, and it's going to turn on, and then it washes it. And when you wash gravel, every now and then, if we're lucky, we might get something special. We got flint. No, that's not the special thing. It's the iron nuggets. When you wash gravel, it gives you iron nuggets. You see why making cobblestone is a good idea? You make the cobblestone, you crush it into gravel, and then you run it through your washer, and you get free iron. Okay, like I said, this machine is built exactly the same as that one, which is built exactly the same as the very first one, except it has brass funnels. This filter is set up exactly the same way, except in our filter, instead of doing a reference item of something that can be smelted, we do something that can be washed, like this sand. So we take the sand, and we see like, oh, this can be washed. Add the opposite to our attribute list, so this says cannot be washed, and then we place that in our filter, just like I already had there, and then it'll do the same thing as that one. All right, if you like it that the fans turn off when the washing items are not in here, then the way you do that is you place a smart observer looking into this belt right here with a torch on its head, and then some redstone on a block next to it. That's just a casing, but it's just a random block. And then into a clutch, which is in line with this thing. So this motor is actually turning right now, but the clutch is keeping it from turning. Because like if I break this torch, for example, it turns off the power, and now the thing starts working. I'd like to show you this very last machine. This is a packer. If you happen to make a bunch of iron nuggets, you might want to turn those into iron ingots, or perhaps even iron blocks. That's what the packer does. I happen to have a stack of iron nuggets on me. If I throw them into this chest, the packer will start to activate, and you can see right here I'm getting some iron ingots out. Those iron ingots are going into this chest, just like this. So here we go. Place any block down. Doesn't have to be a casing. Any block will do. Then place on top of that block a basin. Place another temporary block that you're probably going to want to break in just a second. And then you're going to place a funnel like that. And I would use a brass funnel because that way it'll dump all of the stuff in all at once, and you don't have to wait for however many you need in there to be in there. Put a mechanical press on top of that by right-clicking the basin. Place a depot in front of our basin. Place in another chest like this. And then this can be an andesite funnel. You don't really gain anything by doing a brass funnel there. You probably need to put a filter here because some of these packer recipes don't do quite what you expect they will do. So if you filter it, then it will definitely give you the item that you want. If you throw a bunch of iron ingots in here, the default recipe is actually an iron trapdoor instead of iron blocks, which is probably why you would use the packers to make iron blocks. This thing can pack together any of those recipes where you take 9 of them and then it makes a block, like, you know, 9 iron ingots make an iron block, or 9 redstone make a redstone block. Also the 2x2 ones, so like 4 items, like 4 quartz make a quartz block, I think. Anyway, to set your filter, you can click either that one or just this one is easier. And then that way you'll get the output that you're looking for. I just realized I placed this funnel in backwards. Make sure that it is actually pointing out into this basin, otherwise this thing won't work. Well, guys and gals, that's it for this one. I hope you've enjoyed this video and maybe learned something about making these tiny machines and the Create mod. Anyway, I hope you're having an amazing, awesome, beautiful, fantastic day. Perhaps a holy day. And God bless. Ah! Water!